Hello and welcome everybody, my name is Three-Head Monkey and today we're gaming, or more precise, we're collecting achievements in games. So, this guide is about Still Wakes the Deep, the DLC, Siren's Rest. We will collect all of the achievements in here. I will guide through and tell you step by step what to do, and it should be also aligned so you can follow it like a real guide. However, it's a little bit of a mixed approach. I will get back to this in a second. So, if you actually watch this channel, you might have noticed that I upload my regular playthroughs. So, I will upload also my videos somewhere here. I will link them somewhere here. And however, you can watch also the playthroughs without focusing on the achievements there. But also for the main game, I created not only the Let's Plays, I also uploaded already the video guide here, and you can actually check this out. I will link it up here if you want to watch it. Feel free to check it out and give a comment about this. And also it would be nice if you like and subscribe if you actually like the content. But without further ado, let's quickly check what is happening in the next few minutes here. As you probably know, the base game has 37 achievements in total and another 22 are belonging to the DLC. For this video, I focus on only the 22 achievements for the DLC. There are missable and non-missable achievements. Some of them are related to the story, but some of them are also related to bigger achievements for collecting or discovering multiple objects. Just like in my other guide, I will only focus on the ones which are either missable or part of a bigger achievement. My approach is to explain you all achievements step by step, one after another, but as there are events that can block you out of previously visited areas, beside of that, also the chapter selection is basically useless for the DLC. And so I decided to split some of them up before or after certain events and mixed up my approach a little bit. I still will focus on telling every achievement one after another instead of creating an optimized route to get all done in one rush, but I will at least split them and arrange them in a way so you do not need to replay the whole game all the time, at least if you follow the whole video. As I said already, if you're searching for the base game achievements, I link it over here and you can check it out over there. The structure is roughly the same, but we have more chapters, more options to jump between the areas. However, go there and check it out if you need support for the main game. And even though I always want to collect every achievement in games, I never want to overplan and spoil myself only for having the perfect run. Instead, I used my footage of my live stream and my Twitch channel to create this video. Additionally, I filled it up with a lot of re-recorded material, by the way, and also for some achievements, for sure I recorded the audio completely for this video. And with this being said, let's start to collect some achievements, shall we? Let's go. Okay, let's start with the most tedious achievement first. Just like in the main game, you will get this achievement when you play the DLC with setting the language to Scottish Gaelic. But unlike in the main game, you can't trick the system. You need to play the game fully. And that's why I say it here at the beginning already. Dordrecht is an achievement which is not missable as the game is not allowing you to continue without finding your first memento. After following the red flares, you will get to a blocked door which you need to pry open. I call this the intro office. Explore the cabin for a drawer, open it, check the photo inside and you find your first memento. Congratulations. By the way, in total there are 18 mementos to be collected in the game. Also, Core is an achievement you basically can't miss, as also this one is part of the tutorial. After finding the first memento, you're allowed to go through the blocked door on the left side. Also, this one needs to be opened by force. If you dive through the area, you will find an interactable map of the oil platform, which gives you some additional background information. Click on it if you're interested. If you continue your path, you will find your first remains and get the achievement already. This poor dude is probably Thunderbile. Make a photo and you can continue. Through the game, there are 13 or 14 remains to be discovered. The findings for the next achievement, Lost with All Hands, are needed for multiple achievements. However, to finish this one, you need to confirm yourself that both escape routes failed for the Beira D crew. The first part is to find the lifeboat. For this, turn directly right after you got out of the intro office. Pass the washing machines to the right and you will see some kind of hole in the ground. Dive through and you will find a broken lifeboat. This is the first part of the achievement and you know that you made it there when the conversation starts. Also, there is an interactable container with life jackets next to it, but it's not part of the achievement. The second part is to find the crashed helicopter. From the lifeboat, turn around and dive out again. Dive across the washing machines again and turn right when you see an open path. There's like a big broken pipe you can dive underneath. If you follow the way, you will find the helicopter and trigger a conversation. Directly next to the helicopter, you can also find some more remains. As next, I recommend to do the set dive certification. You need to explore the seafloor before you enter the admin area in the first chapter and find a couple of places. The first area is the washing machine graveyard. After getting out of the intro office, dive slightly to the right where there is some rubble on the ground. Besides some other stuff, there's also a couple of washing machines and this is why I called it like this. If you get close enough, a conversation is triggered, which is what you need. In my case, I need to revisit this part to get the achievement. The next spot is the lifeboat section. If you did Lost with All Hands already, which I described in the last part of the video, you don't need to do this anymore. However, to get there, go from the washing machines right along the rocks until you find a trench and also a hole in the ground. Dive through and you will find a lifeboat. Make sure to trigger the conversation to finish it. Again, starting from the washing machines, this time turn left along the rocks towards the helicopter area again. On the way there will be a trench with a big broken pipe if you remember. Instead of passing by, you now need to dive inside. You will find some kitchen equipment laying around and trigger another conversation. If you have Lost with All Hands already, this part should be done for you. However, continue from the broken pipe and follow the trench. You will eventually find a crashed helicopter, which is another part of this achievement. Also at the helicopter there's a corpse you can photograph. For the next part we need to go left after getting out of the intro office. Dive along the rocks until you find some broken pipes laying on the ground. In one of them you can find a mix of different objects and you can interact with them. If you do so, you can listen to another conversation. You will reach your next stop if you dive towards the red flares now, which lead to the admin office entrance and the cutting arc. However, turn right from here and dive towards the small hut laying on the ground. This is the gas flare hut. Go inside with the crowbar and you'll find your next spot. Also here you can find the Hindu idol memento inside the locker. Last but not least, you need to get to the cutting arc first. After taking it, turn around and dive straight forward where the flares are. You can orientate roughly where the broken pipes on the floor have been. Turn a bit to the right and you will see a hole in the ground again and inside a porter cabin. If you dive around the cabin, you can see a spot where you can dive under the cabin. Here's a door you can cut open with the cutting arc. Inside you will find corals you can interact with to trigger a conversation. If you follow this guide, latest now you should get the achievement. For the achievement Icarus, you need to forget everything you trained and dive too high, too fast and get too far away from the wrecks. Yep, this is another dying achievement. I died somewhere in chapter 2 because of this, but you can get over with this already early on if you want. Both of the achievements Here to Do a Job and a Wreck Upturned are connected to finding mementos throughout chapter 1 and 2. You will get them after finding 9 or 18 mementos in the game. At this point, I will show you the ones within the area before entering admin. The first memento is connected to the achievement Dordrecht and it's not missable. It's the photo you can find in the intro office within the drawer. The second one is the Hindu idol in the gas flare hut. If you get to the arc cutter and get to the gate into the admin area, you need to turn right. There's a small building you can pry open with a crowbar. Inside you will find a locker, which you can pry open too. On the bottom shelf there's a Hindu idol you need to collect. In Lay Me Down to Sleep and Cenotaph you need to find and photograph the remains of the Beira D crew across chapter 1 and 2. You will need to find 7 and 13 or 14 dead bodies. Also here at this point I will show you the ones within the area before entering admin first. Sometimes you need to wait until the conversation ended before you can make a photo. Just don't forget about this. I'm not sure if only finding the bodies is enough for the achievement. The first remains are connected to the achievement core and it's in the intro area too. Just photograph the first dead body in the blue suit before leaving the intro office and you're done. The second body can be found next to the helicopter. Get out of the intro office, dive right towards the washing machine graveyard, go further along the trench below the broken pipe and you will find a destination. Next to the helicopter you can find a poor dude, and don't forget to make a photo. Let's get back to the mementos now, but inside the admin area. After entering the admin area, the game is guiding you along the path until you reach an open door on the left. Inside you can see a vent on the left side of the room and you can open it with the cutting arc. Dive through and to the right you will see a drawer you can open with the crowbar. Inside you will find a crucifix cross. Take it and listen to the conversation. On the opposite side of the vent to the right side after entering the room, there's a small passage you can get through. Dive through and turn right where you can see a movable object. Move it beside and turn left towards marine control. If you continue your path, there will be a door you can pry open to the right side. Open it and get inside. There should be a dartboard inside you can interact with, but it's not what we're searching for, but there is some commentary on it. If you turn right from the dartboard, there is a partly broken door next to it, where you can dive through. If you open the cupboard inside, you will find item we're searching for, a white-blue mug from Nick. For the next object, we can start from the break room area. If you see the dartboard, this time dive through the hole in the wall on the left side. Inside in the next room, there's also a door you can pry open, but don't go through there now. Turn around again and head towards the heater on the ground. You can click on it and trigger a conversation if you want. Directly above, there is an open vent you can dive through until you reach an open part on the bottom side. If you get inside, you will find another body you can take a photo of. But for this achievement, you will need to find Scooby's helmet in this room, which is your next memento. In the very same room where we found Scooby's helmet, which you can reach if you dive through the hole on the left of the dartboard towards the heater and through a vent, you will also find a body. Make a photo of the body for progress and you are done. Do you remember when moving the box beside to go in the direction of the marine control? This is where we want to go again. You might remember the spot where some debris was falling from the top, and on the left side you can cut your way through with a cutting arc. Inside there are 2 lockers, but except of small conversation they are not relevant for you. Instead turn right and you can cut your way through a vent entrance. Move forward until you reach the spot where a path into a room opens below you. Inside the door to pry open is only a death trap, so instead dive through the already open doorway. You'll find another coral body to photograph. In She Fetches a Thrapple, you can use any situation where you're disconnected from your umbilical because you need to die again. There are multiple options, but I was diving through admin until I reached a blocked doorway next to an open path above some blue-white furniture. Go through, turn left and cut your way through some of the yellow bars to get in an additional room. And as you can think already, the passage suddenly gets blocked and you need to disconnect yourself from your umbilical. This is your chance. In the room there is nothing from importance. There are only a couple of nameplates you can trigger a conversation with. Now simply wait roughly a minute until you die and you got this achievement. If you are at this point and you followed my guide, you should have done all achievements which are required to be done in the top area of admin. Now it is time to get to the lower parts. For this you simply need to dive through the hallway until you get to the spot with the blue-white furniture. It's the same spot from the last achievement. Instead of going through the door, you now need to turn around the corner to go right and continue diving through the wrecked passage. Some conversation is triggered at the end of the room and you need to move away a yellow beam. Dive down the hole until you reach the ground of this area, and then path your way through a couple of doorways across a yellow beam on the ground until you reach a spot with a yellow vent on the top right. You can't miss it actually. You can get through the vent and also open the door next to it, but there's nothing interesting inside. Instead you should get around the corner with the yellow beam on the ground. If you dive through there, some debris will fall down. If it hits you, you get killed, which is what you need for the achievement. The next part is directly where you did the achievement Wreck before. To get there, you need to dive to the lower part at the end of the admin area where you can find a yellow beam blocking your way. Remove it, dive down and follow the path and you end up where I'm right now in the video. If you continue now, you won't be able to come back without starting the chapter again. So check out the previous achievements first if you don't want to replay all. Once you're ready, dive further and the area is breaking down again, and with this your way is blocked. Your character turns around looking on your blocked path with a door on the left. Instead of going there, turn around again. There is an open doorway to the left, and again looking to the left you can cut open a vent. Dive through and you can see the first of two king brothers laying on the ground looking like he wants to reach something below. Make a photo of him and then check the bars on the ground. Directly next to King Brother 1 you can cut through some beams on the floor to reach an even lower level of this room. Cut through, dive down and you find the second of the King's brothers in one of the corners. Also here, don't forget to make a photo and you're another step further for this achievement. For the next memento we need to get back to the door where the passage was blocked by crashing parts. This time we want to go through the door directly next to the blocked passage. If you pry it open you can see some vents on the left side. But instead of going there now you will turn right and head over into the next room. On the left side you can see a movable box. Just move it forward until it breaks down a new passage a bit deeper into the room. Dive down, head towards the drawer, open it and collect your memento, the audio cassette case. For the last memento, before having another blocked passage, we need to get back to the door we opened for this achievement already. After opening the door, cut your way through the parts on the left side and follow the way until you reach your passage where you can turn right. Don't go there now, instead continue your way until you reach some rusted metal pipes which you can cut through. If you follow this path you will find a door you can pry open on the right, and if you continue further you will find an already opened vent. You probably know already that something will happen here. You will be blocked inside if you go through, and once you get out you will trigger an event with a collapse. Now dive inside and get disconnected from the cords. But before getting out make sure to open the drawer with the bottle inside. If you take it you add another memento to your collection. At this point, at least if you followed this guide fully, you should have found all mementos and remains of chapter 1 so far. Now we want to go back to the marine control area. If you go through here, you want to be able to get back without replaying the entire chapter 1. So make sure you have everything you wanted to do unless you are okay with replaying everything. We start after the collapse, which happened after picking up the bottle and reconnecting to the umbilical cord. After the collapse and passing the pipes, turn left through the passage and cut open the door at the end. After diving up, you will find an air pocket and a conversation starts. There's a spot where you can disconnect from the cord again and climb outside the water. If you're cutting the chain, you're causing some damage to the area, but as a result, the ladders move downwards so it's reachable for you. Jump towards the ladder and climb up. It's no problem if you fall into the water. Follow the path along the part where you need to press yourself against the wall to get to the other side. Here you can find two doors one after another you need to go through. By following the path you can also see a marine control sign on the floor. If you continue you can see the door to the right. There's nothing of interest in, but it will trigger a tiny conversation between your main character and yourself. After following the way you need to balance over a beam and survive the QuickTime event. Once you reach the other side, open a door and climb up the ladder on the right side. There's another chain you can cut through. After doing so, you create your path out, but hold on, don't jump in for now. There's no way back. Instead, you need to get to the other side by jumping on the blue containers to the right and climb up the ledge on the other side of the room. Turning to the left, you will find another body and also an ID badge on the floor, which is your next memento. The next remains you can find is at the very same spot where the last part of the guide was leading to. After getting in marine control and getting out of the water, just follow the way and cut through the chain which is ripping a hole in the floor. Instead of jumping here, you need to get to the other side by jumping on the blue containers to the right side and climbing up the ledge. Turning to the left, you will find not only the ID badge on the floor, but also the next remains you need to photograph. For the next part, we need to jump down the hole we created by cutting the chain before. Jump down and dive through the bottom floor. There's another doorway you can pass through. You will get along some kind of spiral structure and you can dive through. At some point you will find another air pocket where you can climb out of the water again. And if you continue, you will also find some monkey bars to get to the other side of the room. Once on the other side, you can see your next target already, but you need to get there first. So turn left, crouch through the passage and follow the way. At the end you need to jump over some obstacle and right of it you can cut through a vent. Crouch through and you will end up in a room with a white tank where you can climb up again. Now follow the path and you will find your next buddy. Don't forget to make a photo of him. I think I missed him in my first playthrough. For the last remains in chapter 1, you simply need to continue the campaign and reach the spot where you also find the data logger. For this, get back where we cut through the vent and continue the path through the cave structure. Jump over the hole in the ground and follow the path until you reach marine control. You have to survive a quicktime event here. Now follow the way and to the left you will find poor Roper, who was already in his transformation process in the main game. Make a photo and finish the last remains of chapter 1. In the very same room where you found Roper and Marine Control at the very end of this chapter, you will also find your last memento for this part of the game. Jump over the small obstacle on the floor and check the next room. At the blue painted machines on the wall, you will also find finally the data locker in there, which is your next memento. Take it out and get it out through the door right of you. Opening it will trigger a strange cutscene and afterwards you will find yourself in a flooded Marine Control trying to get out. Follow the game and finally dive back to the diving bell. After getting inside, you will finish this chapter and trigger another cutscene. Once you get back into the ocean again, you need to find all PoEs for the SUD Dive Mastery achievement. In total there are 14 spots you need to find and partly also interact with. For being able to trigger some of the conversation, active conversations need to be finished, so have this in mind while searching. Directly at the beginning you can see a small white cabin below your position and you need to wait until the conversation from before is finished. But then you can find and trigger another conversation inside the cabin and finish this task. If you get out again, you can see some broken pipes behind the cabin. One is cracked open, also here. Interact with it once your previous conversation is done and you have number 2. From the chapter starting point, turn right or alternatively get a little height from where the cabin and the pipe of the last parts of this achievement have been. Search for the diving bell and then dive towards the trench of the left side. Dive there until the next conversation is triggered and you don't need to manually interact here. Just listen to the conversation. The next spot you need to interact with is the junkyard area. Starting from the beginning of this chapter, you need to directly head left. You can see some kind of bigger machinery or structure there, and if you get closer you can also interact with it. Starting from the junkyard, dive a little bit further and deeper. You will pass a couple of wreckage there, but eventually you will find a rusted shaft you can dive in there and trigger another small conversation. Get out again, turn right and search for some more rusted shafts within this area. Make sure to also dive through some of the others so another conversation is triggered. In my case, the dialogue triggered after diving through the next one in the video. Follow towards the red flare next to the sign on the floor with the Beira D writing on it. Next to it you can see a big rusted structure which is the diving deck. When diving a bit up along where the yellow ladder is visible, you can trigger another conversation. From inside the rusted diving deck structure you can see another door on the floor. Go also there and trigger another conversation on your exploration mission. If you pass the diving deck and the blue box for blocking the leaking pipe, you will find a small passage where you will find another memento. However, now pass this passage and dive right across the rusted shaft. If you can see a life preserver in the sand and a little bit to the left there is another door you can interact with. Right from where the last door was, you can dive a little bit further and will reach an orange container next to a broken yellow structure. If you get close to the ripped part, you can trigger another conversation. Also inside you can find a locker with a memento inside. To get to the accommodation module, orientate yourself from the orange container and turn around. If you dive up in this area, you can see a big structure unfolding in the background. If you dive close enough, you will trigger another conversation automatically. Get back to the orange container from here again and dive towards the yellow structure which is laying on the ground. Dive over it and head a little bit to the right and you will see a couple of rusted shafts laying on the ground. If you get closer to the shafts, you can see a door on the ground. Interact with it and you will trigger another conversation. From the last door we just found, turn left and dive along the wreckage on the ground. Next to some other shafts you will also find another door you need to interact with for the achievement. Last but not least, we need to get back to the area where we need to push the blue box on the leaking pipe. If you did not do already, you can push the box now. However, we want to get inside the small passage close by and dive through. When we reach the end, there will be a conversation about crates triggered. Latest now you should get back to collecting some missing mementos, as there's some of them which also need to be collected before engineering. If you followed my guide, you entered a small area close to the leaking pipe with some wooden crates. Beside of the conversation for the SUD Dive Mastery, you can also find the red flask on the ground next to the crates. Take it and you have another one. If you get out again, you can find another memento diving up the crane with the yellow structure on it. If you get to the top part, there is a yellow beam you need to push beside. Once done, you can collect the insulin box from Finlay. but watch out a bit as you're close to the height where you can die. For the last memento before engineering, you need to get inside the orange container. In there you'll find a locker that can be opened with the crowbar. In it on the top shelf you will find some keys which you can take for some achievement progress. We finished now everything outside. Get back to the leaking pipe, and if not done already, you need to push down the blue box on the leaking pipe. Afterwards you can dive through the structure until you reach a yellow beam. As usual, you need to push the beam beside to get past it. Continue your way and get into the mud pits now, which is the engineering area. If you get outside through a window, look to the left and you can see a yellow ladder leading up. Now turn right and open a door with the blue parts on it with the cutting arc. Turn right again and you can see a rusted pipe. Dive inside till the end and collect the darts case. And here you have your next memento. Before you continue your path, get back where we was diving through the window. Now look up slightly to the right and you will see a hole in the structure. Dive through this hole and turn a bit left and continue diving through the vent system. Once you reach the end of the vent system, turn left and follow the path until you reach the next part of the room. Here you will find another unknown body. Make a photo and leave the room through the vent system on your left. You're back again at the door where we cut it open already. For the next body, you need to dive again through the door with the blue parts. Turn right past the pipe with the darts and cut open the bars on the container below you. Get inside and dive through out of the container, and on the other side again turn left. Follow the path and get through a door on your way while you are getting crazy. Also here, turn left and dive upwards where the yellow ladders are placed and follow them until you get to another yellow beam blocking your way. Remove it and you trigger a small collapse leading you through a pipe. Also, at the end here you need to cut your way through some more metal. You end up in another room with an air pocket. Search for the yellow ladder leading out of the water and unplug yourself from the umbilical cord. On top you will find some monkey bars. Use them to climb to the other side and use your arc cutter to make the lever functional again on the right side. Go through the door and squeeze yourself through a small gap to get to the other side of the room. You can cut open the door on the left with the arc cutter to get out again. But don't forget to make a photo of the next body lying in this room. At the same spot where you found your last body after climbing the monkey bars, you will also find a locker. You get here once you followed the story in the mud pits. Open the locker with a crowbar and collect the photo in the lower shelf for your next memento. Get out through the door and jump into the water again. Connect yourself to the umbilical cord and dive through the vent passage which you opened with the lever. You will need to cut open some grills on your way. The vent will split itself and you need to turn left now. Follow the path and you will get to another split section with a dead end. Now turn right until you need to cut through some more grills again. Go through and turn left and directly left again and follow the way until you find another dead end and you need to turn right. Also cut open the grills here and pass through into the room. Now you reach another room with a body and your next memento in here. Pick up the lighter in the hands of the body and you're done. If you followed the guide until now, you will automatically get the achievement Christ I Need a Smoke. If you pick up the lighter, which you will get after diving through a long vent section with a couple of grills you need to cut open. At the same spot where you find the lighter and get the Christ I Need a Smoke achievement, you also have to make a photo of the corpse holding the lighter. If you need the way to get here, just follow the last achievements, I explained it there. But we want to get to the next achievement spot now. We need to get to the point where we first get some red flares to light our way. So turn around and dive through the vents back where we came from until you reach the area where the vents are leading upwards. Here we want to go in now. If you follow the path and cut your way through some more grills, you will end up diving away from some kind of collapse. You will end up in another room being unplugged from your umbilical now. Dive through the open doorway and cut open the next door towards the tank exit and follow the path. After a sprinting section, you will end up in a red and lighted room followed by a cutscene. From now on, you can use the red flares. Search for the spot where you cut open the door some moments before. It was pitch black here. Now you have some light and can dive along the hallway, and at the end of the hallway you will find a pipe. Don't go through here now. Instead, turn around and go through the crack in the wall and head straight forward towards the other side of the room. Drop a flare inside the room and you will see a body being united with coral. Make a photo of this and you're done here. Now dive out again and follow the pipe to the right side after getting out of the crack again. You will end up in a room where you can climb up and some cable holders. If you continue your way, you will find a cart standing in the middle of the room. Get on the cart now and climb up the structure above it. Turn to the right and follow the small passage and you will find the last remains you need for the achievement. It is not a real body, it's only an imaginary one at this point. Get out of the upper area again, down to the cart. Now you need to move the cart towards the wall and climb up through the hole in the wall there. If you follow the path, you will trigger a hunting scene. After jumping some obstacles, you will find yourself in an imaginary room. Get out of the room and follow the connecting corridor until you can get upstairs. Go up, turn right and then directly left again. Go around the corner until you see a ladder blocking your way. To the left side you can see Brody's room. Go inside and check the picture. This part is story related and not missable, but it's your next memento. After getting back from your illusionary trip, you will find yourself in the real crew cabins, which are not looking so good anymore. Go out of the room and then left and follow the path through the crouching part. You will reach a door you can open on your left side. Inside you can see a green mop bucket to your left. Go ahead and squeeze yourself through the passage. On the bed to the left you can find then your next memento, a journal book. For the last part, to finally complete this achievement, you need to crouch back where you came from and go through the open door to the right. Pass the bucket here and squeeze again through the wall. On the other side you can see a laundry cart standing in the doorway. Move it away so you can enter the room. In the room you can find a boxing photo to the left, and when picking it up you should finally finish the achievement and also trigger the achievement Won't Wait Forever. Right where you found the last boxing photo, you will also trigger the achievement Won't Wait Forever if you pick it up. If you did not follow the guide as a whole and don't know how to get there, make sure to check the previous description of getting the boxing photo. With the achievement A Clutch, we will need to die by a creature. In theory there are multiple options for doing so, but the starting of chapter 3 is clearly the easiest options for this. Go to the section where you can use the red flares again and instead of getting away from the monster, let it kill you. For the achievement Gasping and Grasping, you can load into the very last chapter within the menu if you finished the game already. For this achievement you need to get the ending where you let Brody go. For Enshrouding, on the other hand, you need to deny letting Brody to go and simply do nothing while the interaction scene. Also here, you can load into the last chapter if you finished the game already to get it directly to this chapter. Congratulations! If you made it here following this guide, you finally got all achievements, together with the ones that are story related. The first one was Tiny Sylph, which you get in the end of chapter 1. The second is Divine Lesson, which you get automatically after picking up the story-related picture in Brody's room in chapter 2. Number 3 is Thalassophobia, which you get automatically after escaping the monster in chapter 3 and diving through the door. And last but not least, Treaty of Perth, which you get during the conversation with Brody on the bench before deciding how to end the game. Okay my friends, what a ride, or should we say what a dive. We finally finished Still Wakes the Deep and also Siren's Rest, the DLC. Not only playing it, also getting all achievements of it, and out of all of this, finally I made the 2 videos. The first is already online, the next one, if you see this, obviously also. However, it was a lot of effort to create this video, so it would be really nice if you leave a like and subscribe if you actually like the video. If not, never mind, but it would be nice then if you give me a comment what you actually liked or disliked so I can improve in the future. So this won't be the last video. I will work on some other videos. I have a couple of projects already in the making. However, it will take a couple of weeks until I can release the next guide, I think. However, let's see how it goes. And with this being said, bye bye muchachos. See you around.